Everything is slow today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you find me. I am Jenna Ross from Spiritually Savage Mindset Strategy Coaching. I am a psychic medium, channeler, card reader, spiritual coach, and spiritual guide. I help you with all things that you're battling with and help you to learn to listen to your soul and see things from a new perspective. So I want to thank you for being here. I apologize for there not being a video yesterday. I had a very tumultuous few days. In case you don't know me or follow me on Facebook, my surrogate father, he passed away on Thursday, so I already had the video for Friday recorded, and so it got put up. But over the weekend, I took some time to reflect and relax. My birth father died when I was 21 years old, and this human found me in a very rough time in my life and took me on as his own child, and has always been there. And he's been very sick for the last few years, and I'm in Georgia and he's in Texas, so we talk multiple times during the week and we still share our lives, and he gives the best advice and has been the greatest support for me throughout my journey. And so even though I knew that it was coming, we actually talked on my birthday, just a few days before he passed. And he was way more concerned about how I was going to be after he was gone than he was about his actual transition from this life. So he was an incredible blessing, and I'm incredibly grateful that he was in my life. So yesterday I tried to force myself to do the video so that I would have a video uploaded for Monday, and every time I tried to force myself, my guides refused to talk, and it was just a sign that I needed to rest and not do this. And so I stopped trying to force myself. A lot of us try to force ourselves through things sometimes, and it's not the best option. And so I waited, and last night I had a lot of vivid dreams, and a very strong message came through. So I knew that today was the day that I needed to share. I did have a lot of conversations and a lot of realizations over the weekend as I was processing and just kind of trying to harness my gratitude. And I had some discussions with some other coaches and things like that are in my circle, and of course my friends, and just had some good talks. And I want to share with you, after watching and observing and stepping back on my Facebook the last few days or whatever, I wanted to share with you some of the things that I'm finding that I feel like these coaches and guides and mentors are misleading. And not only just coaches, guides, and mentors, but other people are not healing and projecting their wounds out into the universe. And they are projecting things onto other people that are not meant for you to deal with and not meant for you to heal. And so I want to really, really encourage you to understand that everything that happens in your life, whether you view it as good or bad, is for you to heal. We manifest things sometimes, and we don't understand the things that need to manifest in order for those things that we've asked for to actually come into existence. I was manifesting a time for me to communicate with somebody that I had not communicated with in a long time. And then my father passed away. And immediately I thought, I wonder if this is the circumstance that's going to allow this communication that I was trying to manifest. Because there's nothing good or bad in the universe, just necessary. The circle of life is not good or bad. Death is not, something that we should avoid or be afraid of or anything like that. It is a transition. Just like any other transition, we go on. Okay. And where we transition to is not up to us. So it's very interesting when people get very stuck in the things that have already happened to them that cannot be changed, or things that are happening that cannot be changed, and they still themselves in the anger and the bitterness and expect other people to change instead of them healing. I'm going to tell you that no amount of other people changing is going to stop that hurt within you. We cannot control other people, and a lot of times we project our pain and our wound and our refusal to heal something onto other people and blame other people. We blame the government, we blame our parents, we blame relationships, we blame friends, we blame things on other people and think that that's an excuse for us not to heal. And it's not. We may not be responsible for what happened to us, but we are absolutely responsible to heal it. Because if we do not, then we bleed all over people who it was not their problem. I had a very close friend when I first moved here. I moved here, and if you know anything about my journey at all, you know that I moved back to the place of a trauma to deal with the trauma, and I was incredibly afraid. And my best friend at the time was staying in Florida because she had some loose ends to tie up. And so I moved here, and I have my son here, and my son's father moved with me to make sure that I was safe and that I had some support in my transition and in my process. And I had one physical friend here. And I leaned on that physical friend a lot emotionally, and she did not believe some of the same things that I believed. And instead of just being there and allowing it, she tried to project her trauma on me. She tried to talk me out of some of the things I believed. She tried to force me into healing the way she felt was the way that I needed to heal. She tried to convince me that what she was saying was reality. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of what she forced and tried to force and imposed and transitioned caused me a lot of turmoil, because inside I already knew what I needed to do, and I was going through the process the way that I needed to do it. But then I had this person that I felt like I needed for support because she was my only physical support here. And it turned into a big mess. And it was clearly her trying to shield a situation and force a situation to be the way she thought it should be for my health and my well-being and my healing. She did not have ill intentions in certain things that she did. I don't think. But the difference is that it doesn't matter what you believe. Okay? Here's the thing. Our soul tells us what it tells us. Now, our soul, you can call it whatever you want. Your intuition, the universe, God, source, Bob, Allah, whatever you want to call it. It is all the same thing. It's our higher power. It's our steering mechanism. It's our whatever you feel comfortable calling it, whatever it is that you adhere to spiritually, religious-wise, whatever it is. Here's the thing. I was raised as a Christian in a Christian school. I went to a Christian college. I do not adhere to everything that a lot of other Christians adhere to, because I believe that the relationship with God reveals things to you differently than the way you understand them when somebody is just teaching you rules. Okay? If I hear the rule that I'm not supposed to do something, then as I get older, the relationship with the person who made this rule changes. And I understand why that rule was made. And I also understand that there are times when that rule does not apply. The relationship is the important thing. The relationship evolves. The rule book does not. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're a child, if you got a rule book of the things that you were to do and not do, that was a guideline to keep you safe. But as you get older and you develop a relationship with the people who wrote the rule book to keep you safe, you understand that now that relationship is evolved and they can tell you to do things that sound counterintuitive to that rule book. And it's for the greater good. But you also understand the intent, because if you don't know the author of a book, you interpret things one way. But if you know the author, you know the inside scoop, you know the intention, you know the way that they speak, you know the feeling behind it and the reasons for certain things in it. So here's the thing. There are a lot of us who adhere to certain religious texts or beliefs to the letter of the law and don't understand why we do that or have any understanding of anything beyond that. And it keeps us stuck. So my very favorite thing to make people understand is like, you can really read any religious text and take value from it. You really can. And I love some of the lessons and some of the things in the Bible to make people understand this. And one of my favorite stories is Abraham. And the reason I love this is this. God appeared to him and said to him, "You should kill your only son. Sacrifice him to me." And Abraham went, "What?" And he struggled over it. And he went back down the mountain and he struggled over it. But he started making plans to do it. Now, if he had said to other people, "Hey, God told me to kill my son," other people would have went, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." God would never. God won't tell you certain things. God would never. And Abraham may have second guessed. He may have not done it. He may have talked himself out of it. Somebody else may have talked himself out of it. And they may have had the greatest of intentions and really went home and thought, Jesus, this guy was going to kill his kid, and thought God told him to do that. But the truth is, God did tell him to do that. And we don't know why God told him to do that at that. Now, we do know now, like in the Bible, it clearly states that he just wanted to see if he was willing to do whatever God put in front of him. He stopped his hand. He didn't let him follow through with it, but he did it to see how obedient he was and to see if he would listen to God's voice and not other people's voices around him. Okay, you need to understand that your soul is God's voice inside of you. It's the universe's voice. It's your intuition. It is your GPS. It is the breath of life that was breathed into you to make you animated. It knows everything you're supposed to do and the direction that you're supposed to go in. And letting other people interfere and tell you what your voice says and talk you out of what you already know your voice is saying is the epitome of putting other gods before it. Okay? Because they all have their own pieces of God in them. So you are absolutely remiss for not listening to the voice inside of you that already knows what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? This is why it's so important to learn the voices and to learn to listen to what's already in you. Because you can really, really cause yourself a lot of harm and a lot of detours and a lot of pain along the way by not listening and not trusting and not relying on that voice and letting other people in to speak over it. You can have all the greatest intentions in the world, but you cannot tell people what God told them and what their soul tells them. Okay? As a guide, that's not even my job. I help you listen and I help you interpret, but I will never tell you what your soul is telling you. That's for you to know. I just help you learn to listen to it. So one of the things that we struggled with, especially in my journey, is I lost some friends when I came down here who were really strong Christians who I'd always had a wonderful relationship with. Because when I said what journey I was going on and why I was moving here and what was going on, they literally said to me, God will never. You don't get to determine what God will never. You know why? Because you're not God in that sense. You don't get to determine what God will never tell another person to do, because you have no idea why it needs to happen and what needs to happen from that. We need to be in an integrity with ourselves. And when we're not in integrity with ourselves, when we have not healed our wounds, we start to project those things onto other people. And we try to control and force and push our own beliefs on other people. The things in our life that showed up were there to trigger us to heal, not for us to use that as an excuse to not heal, an excuse to live in fear, stay stuck, be bitter, and to tell other people our pain and bleed all over them. There are a lot of coaches on social media right now who are bleeding their pain all over other people and trauma bonding to clients and basically teaching them that it's not their job to heal, it is society's job to change around their pain. Some of the societal justice things that we get involved with are literal things that happen to us just so that we could heal. And us entrenching ourselves into a 3D existence of race, gender, sexual orientation, political affiliation, and so forth. If you have coaches and guides preaching these things to you, that is not soul talk. That is 3D human talk. When, in the movie The Matrix, we always talk about escaping the Matrix. When Morpheus got out of the Matrix, he didn't run back and tell people not to vote for certain people. He didn't run back into the Matrix and start preaching about what religion or spiritual affiliation to deal with. He didn't run back and start preaching to people about gender or race or equality or any of that. He said, I got to save these people from all of this. I've got to wake them up out of all of those things that confine us, that the powers that be have programmed them with. And we must save ourselves from our programming. That's exactly what healing is. You transcend it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it doesn't affect people. I'm saying that the things that affect you are for your healing. This is the way that we heal the collective. We look inward at the things that are hurting us and we heal us. And as we heal us, we pour out a message of healing for people that have been through the same things so that they know how to heal from those things. Because the more we heal us, the more the collective heals. And we are not attached to who hears the message, who believes the message, or anything like that. We just understand the people that are meant to be reached will be reached. But when we're pouring out our message and trying to defend it, trying to scream at other people who won't hear us, trying to cry about it and argue and claim that we're triggered and, and all this other stuff, that is not educating. That is not saving people. That is desperation for somebody to validate you and your pain. It is you dumping your wounds on other people. We need not to accept advice, coaching, mentorship, or anything else from people that are teaching from their wounds and not from their healing. Do you know how you see people who are teaching from their healing? It's when real stuff happens in their life and they still adhere to what they're teaching you. I just had a death in my family, and I have wrapped myself in gratitude at the very opportunity that I had that human in my life. I am so blessed that I integrate the things that I have learned and that they're my reality. I don't just teach these things to you, and then when I shut this camera off, I don't live them. You will see what people are living. The friend that I lost, or that I had to, sever from when I first got here, you can see from the pattern, even since we've stopped being friends, that the pattern of things that she accused me of and blamed me for, that she's still promoting those things in her life. Things that she was claiming were causing problems with her relationship and stuff like that, she has now gone to a different extent and invited those things into her life. That was not me. I have been removed from her life for more than a year now. She invited those things in. She cultivated them and nurtured them. You have to be in an integrity with yourself. Your words have to match your actions. And if you're telling people this is who you are, then your actions and your fruit have to show that this is who you are. We need to be in an integrity with ourselves and speak the truth to people. I'm not saying create drama. I'm saying create truth in their life from your heart. Not from your anger, not from your bitterness, not from your fear, not from your need for validation, not for any of the humanness. If it's truth, put it out there. If things are happening in your life, truth has to prevail, regardless of how it affects your life. Is that understood? I think I'm going to do a whole separate video on this, on fear and how it affects your life and how we derail ourselves. Because we are afraid to speak the truth sometimes because we are afraid of other people's reactions and how that affects our life. And that's not trusting. That's not trusting ourselves. That's not trusting the universe. That's not trusting protection. That's not trusting anything. All right. So I think I'll do that video right after this one. That way you guys will have a video for Wednesday and I can stop beating myself up. All right. Well, thank you for listening today, and I hope you got something amazing out of it, and I will see you tomorrow.